The whiskey glass hits the oak table with a soft thud. My father raises it like he's celebrating something wonderful, then actually laughs as he signs the updated will. The lawyer's voice drones through the room, reading every brutal word out loud. Everything goes to my stepbrother: the farm, the machinery, the savings, even the life insurance policy. My name appears exactly once in the section titled Exclusions. My stepmother squeezes Theo's arm and whispers loud enough for me to hear, "You earned every bit of this, sweetheart." Dad doesn't even look at me when he says, "Ivy's got her fancy city job now. She doesn't need a single dime from me." The words hit like a slap. I try to speak, try to ask about Mom's ring, about the north field he promised would be mine since I was 8 years old. He waves his hand like I'm a fly buzzing near his drink. "Promises aren't contracts, girl. You should know that with your degree." The room actually chuckles. Theo smirks. The lawyer clears his throat and slides the document toward Dad for a final signature. I watch the pen move across the page, watch my entire childhood get erased with black ink. The chapter of my life where I belonged to this family just ended. They wrote me out like I never existed at all. Outside in the parking lot, the summer heat presses down on my shoulders. I'm shaking, not from the temperature, but from pure rage mixed with heartbreak. I chase after Dad before he can reach his truck. "How could you do this?" My voice cracks despite my effort to stay strong. He turns slowly, like I'm bothering him. "You abandoned this farm the second you left for college, Ivy. You made your choice." Theo appears beside him, arms folded across his chest, that same smug expression plastered on his face. "You only came back to cash out. We all know it." My stepmother Val joins them, forming a wall of rejection. "We're done carrying your memory in his mind. You've been gone 7 years. We're the ones who stayed." Dad delivers the line that breaks something fundamental inside me. "This land belongs to the son who stayed, not the daughter who ran away." Every memory I have of him, learning to drive the tractor, helping with harvest, sleeping under stars in the north field, all of it gets rewritten in that moment as ingratitude, as abandonment, as proof I never deserved any of this. He turns his back on me and walks to his truck. Theo and Val follow. The engine starts. Dust kicks up as they drive away, leaving me alone in the empty parking lot, thinking one clear thought: he really believes I don't belong to this land anymore. I stand there watching their truck disappear down the county road. The lawyer's office door is still visible behind me. That place where they just legally declared I don't matter. Something cold and clear settles over my thoughts. I whisper to myself, testing the words, "He laughed when he cut me out of his will for my successful stepbrother. He has no idea I'll soon be the anonymous investor who owns his foreclosed farm." The promise feels dangerous and right at the same time. My name is Ivy Calder, and this land was supposed to be my inheritance long before Theo ever showed up. I close my eyes and I'm 8 years old again, chasing fireflies with my mom through the north field on a perfect summer night. She's laughing, catching them in a jar for me, telling me stories about when she was young. "One day, Ivy, this will all be yours. The north side is your corner of the world, your piece of forever." I believed her with my whole heart. I remember pressing my small palm into the dirt that night, making a silent promise with the land itself. I promised I'd take care of it. I promised I'd come back. That little girl had no idea how hard keeping that promise would become, but I'm gonna keep it anyway, just not the way anyone expected. The memories flood back as I drive away. I'm 15 again, sitting at our too-quiet dinner table. Mom's been gone 2 years, and the house feels empty even when Dad and I are both home. Then one afternoon, he brings home a woman named Val and her teenage son. "This is my friend Val," Dad says, but the way he looks at her tells me she's more than a friend. "And this is Theo." At dinner that first night, Val compliments everything Dad does, then casually mentions how Mom let things slide around here. I freeze with my fork halfway to my mouth. Theo, who's been here less than a week, starts talking about modernizing the farm, throwing around terms he clearly just learned. Dad listens like Theo's some kind of genius. I mention wanting to keep Mom's herb garden alive, the one she spent years building near the back porch. Val smiles at me like I'm a child. "Oh, sweetie, it's just weeds now. Nobody has time for that." Dad nods along. Later that night, Dad asks Theo to ride in the front seat of the truck while I'm told to help Val clean up the kitchen. My first taste of the new hierarchy. I'm not the daughter anymore. I'm the help. The leftover. The reminder of the wife he wants to forget. That's when I first understood I was being replaced. One autumn afternoon when I'm 16, Dad tosses Theo the keys to the brand new tractor, the one I helped him save for, the one I skipped my junior prom to work extra hours at the feed store for. Wait, I say, jogging over. You promised I'd learn to operate it first. Remember, we talked about it all summer. Dad waves me off without even looking at me. Heavy machinery's not for you, Ivy. Theo's got a real head for this stuff. Theo catches the keys with one hand and winks at me. He revs the engine like he's in some kind of parade, showing off. I'm left standing there holding the clipboard with the maintenance schedule I spent hours creating, reduced from partner to assistant in 5 seconds. That night, I'm in my room trying to study when I hear Val's voice drifting up through the floor vents. You can't build a future on a girl who just wants to escape to some city. Theo's your legacy now. Dad sighs, and I hear the exhaustion in it. You're probably right. I pack my textbooks with new determination that night. If they've decided I'm leaving anyway, I'll make sure I leave on my own terms. I'll leave so successfully they'll never be able to say I failed. That becomes my new promise to myself. Succeed so completely they can't deny I was worth believing in. Senior year arrives. I get my acceptance letter from the state university, finance program, partial scholarship. I'm shaking when I open it, tears running down my face, but I still need a small loan to cover the rest. The bank says I need a cosigner. I practice my speech for 3 days before approaching Dad. I find him in the barn working on the combine. Dad, I got in. Full finance program. I'll come back after graduation and help make this farm more profitable. I can show you how to... He cuts me off. I'm not going into debt for a degree you'll never use, Ivy. Girls settle down, they get married, it's just reality. The words punch the air from my lungs. But I can help. Theo's the one who needs capital. He's got real plans. As if summoned, Theo walks into the barn and casually mentions that Dad co-signed for his new truck last week. $20,000, no hesitation. Dad shrugs. That's for the farm. It's an investment. I feel physically sick. I hide in the barn after they leave, sobbing into my knees, pressing my face against the old wood that smells like hay and childhood. The farm isn't his excuse. It's never been about the farm. It's about me being the wrong kind of person to invest in. That night, I apply for every scholarship, every grant, every work-study program I can find. I'll do this without him. I'll prove every single one of them wrong. My last night at home. I've packed everything I own into 2 duffel bags. The bus ticket to the city sits in my pocket, purchased with money I made cleaning stables. Dad refuses to drive me to the station. You chose this path, Ivy. You can walk it. Val offers this fake sad smile that makes me want to scream. Theo leans against the kitchen counter, smirking. Enjoy your city rat race. Don't come crawling back when you can't hack it. Nobody says goodbye. At midnight, when the house is finally quiet, I sneak out to the north field one last time. Mom's bracelet is still nailed to the fence post where I left it after her funeral. Tarnished now, but still there. I touch it gently. I'll come back when I can afford to be treated like a person, I whisper to the empty field. I promise, Mom, I'll come back. The stars are bright overhead, the same stars Mom and I used to count. I press my palm against the fence post, connecting with the land one more time. Then I pick up my bags and start walking down the dark road toward town. The farmhouse lights shrink behind me with every step. I don't let myself look back. Looking back would break me, and I need to stay strong now. The girl who loved this farm just died. The woman who will reclaim it is being born with every step I take away from it. The city is brutal. My room is the size of a closet, the mattress so thin I feel the floor through it. I work 2 jobs while taking night classes at community college, waitressing until midnight, then stocking shelves from 4 to 8 in the morning. I sleep 3 hours, attend classes, study in bathroom stalls during breaks. I fail my first accounting exam and cry so hard I throw up. But I go back. I retake the test. I pass. I send Dad updates every few months, made the dean's list, got promoted to shift manager, transferred to the university. His replies are 1 sentence long. Busy here. Hope you're good. Never a visit. Never a phone call asking how I'm doing. Meanwhile, Val's social media is full of smiling photos. New equipment, weekend trips, Theo posing with a brand new truck. One post says, "Blessed to have a son who knows how to run a real business." The photo is taken in front of my childhood home. I stare at that post for an hour, something dark and determined growing in my chest. Then I get an email from a small investment firm. "We reviewed your application. We'd like to interview you for our analyst position." The job description includes one phrase that makes my heart race: specializing in distressed agricultural assets. I take the interview. I get the job. I don't tell Dad. He wouldn't care anyway. At the firm, I learn how people lose everything. My job is to analyze failing businesses, mostly farms, and turn them into spreadsheets. I study loan structures, balloon payments, bad refinancing decisions. My boss, a calm woman named Patricia, explains how banks bundle non-performing assets and sell them at discount prices. "People think they'll farm forever," she says. "Then one bad season hits, they take a desperate loan, and suddenly they're drowning." I'm good at this work. Too good. One case crosses my desk that's eerily similar to our farm. Family operation. Expanded too fast, weather turned bad, couldn't make payments. Foreclosed in 18 months. I have to step outside for air. My chest tight with the realization of what I'm looking at. I'm seeing the future. I'm seeing exactly how farms die. That night, I pull up a satellite image of Calder Ridge Farm on my laptop. I zoom in on the fields I used to run through, the barn where I hid and cried, the north field where Mom made me promises. It looks smaller from space, more vulnerable. I whisper to the screen, "This is what they chose instead of me." But I'm learning the rules of the game now. I'm learning exactly how land changes hands, and I'm learning that daughters who get pushed out can sometimes find their way back through doors their fathers never saw coming. Years pass. I get promoted to senior analyst. During lunch breaks, I secretly stalk Val and Theo's social media like it's my guilty addiction. I see the changes. A new grain silo that gleams in photos. A glossy logo painted on the side of trucks. Dad wearing a branded jacket that says Calder Ridge Ag. Theo posts constant updates with captions like "Scaling Calder Ridge into the future" and "Modern farming for modern times." But I know what those photos really mean. My finance brain reads between the shiny images. New silos mean new loans. Branded trucks mean credit lines. That glossy logo means someone's paying for marketing they probably can't afford. I zoom in on one photo and spot a banner in the background. Heartland Bank's sponsor logo. I know that bank. I know their loan terms. I know their foreclosure rate. My hands start mapping the borrowed money behind those smiling photos, calculating debt-to-asset ratios in my head. One evening, I see Dad comment under Theo's post, "So proud of my son for building what we always dreamed of." My hand actually trembles. I set down my phone and stare at the wall of my apartment. My son. Building what we dreamed of. I was supposed to be part of that dream. I was supposed to be the one he was proud of. Instead, I'm the stranger on the outside, tracking their downfall through social media posts, watching them gamble with land that should have been mine. Waiting. I fly home once in 7 years, for the anniversary of Mom's death. The farm looks different, more metal buildings, fewer trees. Inside, my childhood photos are gone, replaced with professional shots of Theo shaking hands with agriculture officials and framed awards for regional modernization excellence. At dinner, Val makes a show of asking about my job. "So you analyze farms that are failing? How sad." She pauses. "But see, you're doing fine on your own. You don't need to rely on this place anymore." Theo brags about profit margins he clearly doesn't understand, numbers that don't add up. Then he jokes, "Bet Ivy couldn't handle getting her hands dirty anymore. Too used to those office chairs." Dad mostly stays quiet, new lines around his eyes making him look older than I remember. When I mention Mom's promise about the North Field, he snaps. "Don't start with that again. That was just her talking nice to a kid. It didn't mean anything real." The words hit like a physical blow. I leave the next morning without saying goodbye. On the drive to the airport, I realize the emotional door closed years ago. The will signing I haven't even witnessed yet is just the legal paperwork catching up to what already happened. They cut me out of the family, long before they cut me out of the inheritance. I'm just a ghost now, haunting the edges of their new story. Back in my apartment, I spread the contents of my memories across my table. Photos of Mom. The schedule I made for that tractor Theo got to drive. A letter Dad sent during my first year of college that said, "Proud of you," before he stopped being proud. I let myself grieve, not just the money I'll never inherit, but the final death of hope that he might change his mind, that he might see me. But grief doesn't stay grief. It transforms. It curdles into something sharper, something that tastes like determination instead of tears. I whisper to my empty apartment, "You didn't want me to have a piece of your farm? Fine. I won't take a piece. If it ever hits the market, I'll take the whole thing." It sounds crazy when I say it out loud. Impossible. But I work in the business of impossible things now. I know exactly how land transfers from fathers to daughters in ways nobody plans for. I know how debt becomes foreclosure, becomes auction, becomes ownership. I open my laptop and start a new file. Title: Calder Ridge Contingency Plan. It's just a thought exercise at first. Just a way to channel the hurt into something productive. But as I type, filling in numbers and timelines and strategies, it starts feeling less like fantasy and more like a blueprint. More like a promise I'm making to that 8-year-old girl in the Northfield. I'm coming back. Just not the way any of them expect. 3 months later, my team gets assigned a new portfolio. A regional bank wants to offload some risky agricultural loans from our county. I'm skimming through the summary, half-focused, until I see familiar names. Heartland Bank. Our county. My heart rate spikes. I scroll through parcel identification numbers and loan accounts, and then I see it. Calder Ridge Ag Holdings LLC. My hands freeze on the keyboard. I read the details 3 times to make sure I'm not imagining it. High loan-to-value ratio. Missed payment indicators. Red flagged for review. It hasn't defaulted yet, but it's teetering on the edge. All those shiny photos, all that expansion, all of Theo's bragging about modernization. It was built on borrowed money they can't pay back. I hover my cursor over the full file link. My finger trembles above the mouse. Opening this file means crossing a line. It means looking at my father's financial destruction with professional eyes. It means seeing the exact dollar amount of their mistake. Once I click, I can't unknow what I'll learn. The cursor blinks. Waiting. I take a breath and click. The file opens. Numbers fill my screen. Loan amounts, payment history, collateral descriptions, default probability percentages. I read every word. When I'm finished, I close my laptop and sit in the dark. The plan I thought was impossible just became terrifyingly real. I take a weekend trip home, telling myself I need to see things with my own eyes before making any decisions. I sit in the corner booth at Millie's dinner, the same place I used to get pancakes with Mom. 2 local farmers slide into the booth behind me, not noticing me hidden in the corner. Their voices carry. Heard Theo Calder over-leveraged something terrible. Spent money on equipment they didn't need. Expansion doesn't mean profit. Kid thought he could impress his way into success. Saw his stepdad at the bank last week. Never seen a man look so small. Val's telling everyone it's the economy's fault, and the daughter who abandoned them. My cheeks burn at that. The ungrateful daughter. Still my fault, even now. I pay my bill and walk outside. From the highway I can see Calder Ridge in the distance. The new silo gleams. The barn has fresh paint. Everything looks successful from far away. But as I watch, a truck pulls up with a repo company logo on the side. They're loading something onto a trailer, equipment they're taking back. I drive closer, park on the access road. That's when I see it. A hand-painted for lease sign leaning against the fence, half hidden behind tall grass. They're trying to rent out parts of the operation to generate cash. Desperation move. My phone buzzes. Email from work? Calder Ridge payment now 60 days delinquent. File updated to active risk category. I sit in my car and watch the farm from a distance, watching their world crack, watching the foundation crumble, and I feel nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just cold, clear recognition that the moment is coming. The updated portfolio lands in my inbox Monday morning. Official notice: Calder Ridge Ag Holdings has entered default status. There's a scanned document attached, the bank's formal notice of default with legal language about missed payments, grace periods, and intent to foreclose. I read it twice. The numbers are worse than I thought. They're not just behind, they're underwater. The farm is worth less than they owe. Theo gambled and lost. For a moment, just a brief flicker, I imagine calling Dad, warning him, using everything I've learned to help him restructure the debt, negotiate better terms, save the farm before it's too late. I could do it. I have the skills and connections. Then I hear his voice in my memory. You don't get to crawl back for a payout now. I remember his laugh when he signed that will. The way Theo smirked, the way Val said I abandoned them. I close the file, then I reopen it. I add a note in our internal system, flagging for personal review, potential acquisition target. My supervisor replies within an hour. Good eye, let's discuss strategy. That night, I dream about the North Field. In the dream, I'm 8 years old and Mom is showing me how to plant seeds. You have to be patient, Ivy, she says. Good things take time to grow. I wake up and whisper to the dark. I've been patient, Mom, I promise. It's almost time. My coworker Patricia notices me lingering over the Calder Ridge file during lunch. She assumes it's just another case. These are always hard, she says, pulling up a chair. Family farms going under. But sometimes you can help them restructure. Sometimes you can't. She explains our firm's process. Buy the non-performing loan at a discount from the bank, then either work with the owner to create a payment plan or take possession of the asset. The key is knowing which path makes sense financially. That night, I lie awake replaying every memory. Mom's promise in the North Field. Dad refusing to co-sign my loan. The will signing where they laughed. Theo getting the tractor keys. Val erasing Mom's garden. 7 years of being treated like I didn't matter. I'm at a crossroads and I know it. I could warn them. Use my position to help them save the farm, be the bigger person. Prove that I'm not vindictive. Or I could treat this exactly like any other deal. Let the process unfold. Watch the consequences of their choices catch up to them. Not out of cruelty, but out of simple professional detachment. They're a failing asset. I'm an investor who recognizes opportunity. The personal history is just noise in the data. I whisper to my ceiling, you chose Theo. You told me I abandoned you. I'm just honoring your choice. The decision settles over me like ice. Clean, final, clear. Tomorrow, I'll start the acquisition process. I draft the proposal carefully, keeping my personal connection buried under layers of financial analysis. I present it to my firm's partners. There's a distressed farm in my home county. Good soil quality, decent equipment, terrible management. Classic turnaround candidate. If we acquire the loan bundle from Heartland Bank, we can foreclose and either flip the property or restructure it for long-term profit. They love it. Smart eye, Ivy. This is exactly the kind of opportunity we need. To keep myself off any visible paperwork, I work with our legal team to establish a shell company, Oakline Holdings, LLC. It'll be the name on all documents, the buyer at auction, the new owner of record. My name stays buried in internal files where only our firm can see it. The lawyers talk about anonymity, liability shields, strategic positioning. I sign documents with steady hands, my signature appearing on pages that will eventually take my father's farm without him ever knowing who's behind it. Patricia reviews the structure. This is really solid work, Ivy. Textbook acquisition strategy. If she only knew this isn't textbook. This is personal. The shell company is approved. Oakline Holdings exists now, a ghost company with my will behind it. The farm doesn't know it yet, but it's already changing hands. The only question is timing. When will they fail completely? How long until the auction? The answer comes faster than expected. 90 days. Time compresses. I read every update like it's a novel I can't put down. The bank tries to renegotiate with Dad and Theo. They failed to meet the revised terms. I see transcripts of their phone calls with loan officers. Theo blaming market conditions, supply chain problems, weather patterns. Dad sounds exhausted, defeated. Val tries to charm the bank manager, offering assurances that mean nothing without cash to back them up. The bank denies every request for extension. A notice of foreclosure sale gets scheduled. I watch photos come in from the property appraiser they send. Weeds growing in the fields that used to be perfect. Rust starting on the new silo that was supposed to represent their success. The tractor I learned to drive sitting at a strange angle, like someone parked it and never came back. Equipment scattered instead of organized. The farm is dying visibly. The foreclosure auction date lands on my calendar like a countdown. 60 days. 45 days. 30 days. Each notification brings it closer. I should feel something. Guilt, maybe, or savage joy. Instead, I feel like I'm watching something inevitable unfold, like watching a storm you predicted finally arrive. They built this collapse themselves, brick by brick, loan by loan, dismissal by dismissal. I'm just the wind that'll blow through when the structure finally falls. 20 days, 10 days, 5. The auction is scheduled for a Saturday morning at the county administrative building. I book a flight home. This time I'm not visiting as the forgotten daughter. I'm attending as an anonymous investor about to reclaim everything they said I'd never deserve. The county administrative building smells like old paper and floor polish. I arrive in a rented car, wearing an understated navy suit, sitting in the back row of the auction room. Dad, Theo, and Val sit near the front, whispering frantically, with a banker who keeps shaking his head. They're trying to find a last-minute miracle that doesn't exist. They don't see me. Why would they? They think I'm 1,000 miles away in my office, irrelevant to their real lives. The auctioneer is a tired-looking man in his 60s. He runs through smaller properties first, a foreclosed tractor, some parcels of equipment. Then he calls the lot number for Calder Ridge Farm. My heart hammers so hard I can feel it in my throat. Theo tries to bid. The banker grabs his arm and whispers something sharp. Theo slumps back down. They're not approved. They have no money. No one will loan them anything. Oakline Holdings, my shell company, has a proxy agent in the room, a professional bidder who doesn't know who really hired him. He starts bidding, calm and methodical. One other investor competes, probably someone looking to flip the land. We outbid them easily. The auctioneer's voice echoes, "Going once, going twice, sold to Oakline Holdings for $473,000. Dad's head drops into his hands. Val covers her face. Theo punches the back of an empty seat, the sound cracking through the quiet room. The auctioneer stamps sold on the file with red ink. That sound, that decisive thump, feels like a door closing and opening at the same time. I stand up and walk out before anyone can see my face. In the parking lot, I sit in my rental car and watch them exit. Dad looks 20 years older. Theo is screaming into his phone. Val is crying. They drive away in separate cars. I wait 10 minutes, then I drive past Calder Ridge one time. The place that raised me, the place that rejected me, the place that's now legally mine. I keep driving, back to the airport, back to the city, back to my regular life where no one knows what I just did. My phone buzzes with congratulations from my firm. "Excellent acquisition, Ivy. This is going to be a strong asset for us." I don't reply. I just drive, watching the farm disappear in my rearview mirror. Except this time, it's not disappearing forever. This time, I'm taking it with me. Word spreads through town fast. By Monday, everyone knows that Calder Ridge got snatched up by some city company. I'm back in my apartment, monitoring everything remotely. Equipment starts disappearing as creditors repossess everything with liens. Trucks I remember from childhood get loaded onto trailers and driven away. The tractor Theo drove instead of me. The combine Dad was so proud of. All of it, gone. I get reports from our property manager. Previous owners requesting meeting to discuss potential leaseback arrangement. Should we schedule? My supervisor forwards me the request. "Ivy, you handled this acquisition. You want to take the meeting?" I stare at that email for an hour. This is the moment. I could stay hidden behind Oakline Holdings forever, let lawyers handle everything, never reveal myself. Or I could show my face, let them see exactly who took their farm. Let them know that the daughter they erased came back with a checkbook and a business degree. I type my response, "Yes, I'll handle it personally. Schedule for next Friday at Heartland Bank, 2 p.m. My supervisor replies, "You sure? These meetings can get emotional." I write back, "I'm sure." I spend the week preparing, not for negotiation. I've already decided the terms. I'm preparing for the moment they see my face. The moment Dad realizes. The moment Theo understands. The moment Val's fake smile finally cracks. I practice in the mirror, calm, professional, unshakable. The daughter they underestimated grew up. Friday arrives. I put on my best suit, the one I wore when I closed my biggest deal. I drive to the bank. I'm 10 minutes early. I sit in the conference room alone, breathing slowly, steadying myself. This is it. The door will open, they'll walk in, and everything changes. The clock on the wall ticks toward 2. The door handle turns. I stand up, shoulders back, chin level. Ready. Dad walks in first. His shoulders are stooped in a way I've never seen before, like he's carrying physical weight. Theo follows, jaw clenched, eyes scanning the room for the corporate shark he's expecting. Val is last, her eyes already shiny with prepared tears. They're so focused on looking for a stranger that they don't actually look at me. Not yet. The bank representative starts to speak, but I gesture for silence. Hello, I say quietly. The sound of my voice makes Dad freeze. He looks up. His face goes completely white. Theo's expression shifts from anger to confusion to shock in 3 seconds. Val actually gasps. Ivy? Dad's voice is barely a whisper. What? What are you doing here? I gesture to the chair across from me. Please sit down. We have things to discuss. Theo explodes first, exactly as I predicted. This is insane. You're the company? You stole our farm. I didn't steal anything, I reply calmly. I purchased a foreclosed asset at public auction. Everything was legal and documented. Val tries to recover. This is a misunderstanding. Surely we can. I slide the documents across the table. Here's proof of the foreclosure proceedings. Here are the records of your missed payments. Here's the auction result. Here's the deed transfer. Everything is already done. Dad still hasn't spoken. He's staring at me like I'm a stranger, and maybe I am. Maybe the daughter he knew did die when she left. How long? Theo demands. How long have you been planning this? I didn't plan your failure, I say evenly. You did that yourselves. I just prepared to act when the opportunity emerged. Dad finally finds his voice. Why? That one word carries so much weight. Why this? Why now? Why hurt us? I meet his eyes. Do you really not know? The silence in the room is suffocating. I let it stretch before I speak again. Let me be very clear about what happened. 3 years ago, you signed a will cutting me out completely. You laughed while doing it. You told me I didn't deserve this land because I left. But I didn't abandon this farm. I was pushed out. Systematically. Year after year. Theo starts to interrupt. I hold up one hand. I'm not finished. Theo, you were given everything I worked for. The tractor I saved for. The opportunities I begged for. Dad co-signed a $20,000 truck for you, but wouldn't help me with a $5,000 school loan. Val, you erased my mother's memory from this family like she never existed. And Dad? My voice stays level, but something raw enters it. You replaced me with a son who told you what you wanted to hear. A son who destroyed the farm in 7 years. We didn't destroy anything, Theo argues. The market didn't make you take out loans you couldn't afford. The market didn't make you expand recklessly. You gambled with land that had been in our family for 3 generations, and you lost. I pull out a folder. These are my terms. Dad, I'm willing to let you live in the small cottage at the eastern edge of the property. $1 per year lease for the rest of your life. You'll have peace and a place to stay. Dad's eyes fill with tears. I'll arrange fair severance for the 2 workers who stayed loyal through all of this. They deserve better than they got. And me? Theo asks bitterly. You? Nothing. You will never control this land again. No management role, no ownership share, no decision-making power. You burned that bridge when you gambled away a legacy. Val starts crying for real now, not the performance tears. Theo stands up so fast his chair falls backward. This is revenge. Pure revenge. I stand too, matching his energy. No. Revenge would be watching you starve. This is justice. This is taking back what you decided I didn't deserve. I'm still your father, Dad says quietly. Am I? I ask. Because fathers protect their children. Fathers believe in their daughters. You chose Theo over me at every single turn, and now you're surprised that I chose myself? The room goes silent again. Theo storms out, his footsteps echoing in the hallway. Val follows after a moment, shoulders shaking. Dad stays seated, staring at the documents spread across the table. Do you hate me? He finally asks. I consider the question honestly. No, I don't hate you, but I don't trust you either, and I don't need your approval anymore. I push the cottage lease agreement toward him. This offer is real. You can accept it or not, but the farm is mine now. That's not changing. I gather my papers, slide them into my briefcase. As I reach the door, Dad speaks again. Your mother would be so disappointed in all of us. I pause, hand on the doorknob. My mother promised me that land when I was 8 years old. She told me it was mine. I think she'd be glad I finally came back to claim it. I walk out, leaving him alone in that conference room. I don't look back. Looking back is for people who regret their choices. I don't regret anything. The weeks that follow are messy. Theo and Val move into a cramped rental in town. Word spreads that Theo lost the family farm, and his reputation collapses. Banks won't talk to him. People he thought were friends avoid him in public. He tries to start a consulting business. Agricultural modernization strategies, but no one trusts the guy who bankrupted his own operation. Val tries to sell her story to local media. Ungrateful daughter steals family farm. But the reporters do basic research and find the foreclosure documents, the auction records, the years of financial mismanagement. The story doesn't run. I watch it all from a distance, getting updates from our property manager. I feel nothing but a quiet kind of closure. This isn't triumph. It's just the natural consequence of their choices finally catching up. Dad surprises me. He shows up at the farm's border one evening, looking older and smaller than I've ever seen him. The property manager calls me. "Mr. Calder is here. Says he needs to speak with you." I drive out. We meet at the gate, the fence between us feeling symbolic. "I can't accept your offer," he says quietly. "The cottage. I can't take it." "Why not?" "Because I don't deserve it, because of what I did to you." I lean against the fence post, the same one where Mom's bracelet used to hang. "This isn't about deserving, it's about me choosing not to be as cruel as you were." He flinches like I slapped him. "I'm sorry," he says. "I know that doesn't fix anything. I know it's too late, but I'm sorry for every time I chose Theo over you. For every 'you're just a girl' comment, for making you feel like you didn't matter." The apology is messy, halting, imperfect, but it's real. "Do you think she'd forgive me?" he asks. "Your mother. Do you think she'd understand why I—" He can't finish. I think about Mom, about her kindness, about the promises she made me in the North Field. I think she'd be sad about how we all handled this, but I think she'd be glad I came back stronger. He nods slowly. "The cottage offer stands," I say. "If you change your mind." I turn to leave. He calls after me. "Ivy," I pause. "You turned out exactly like her, strong, stubborn, unbreakable." It's the kindest thing he said to me in 15 years. I don't know how to respond, so I just nod and keep walking. 6 months later, the farm is transformed. Not into some soulless corporate operation, but into something that actually honors what it was meant to be. I partner with local cooperatives for sustainable practices. I hire back the workers who stayed loyal, with better pay and actual benefits. I establish a small scholarship fund in Mom's name, $5,000 per year for rural girls studying finance or agriculture. The applications that come in break my heart in the best way. Girls who sound exactly like I did at 18, desperate to prove themselves, hungry for chances nobody's offering them. I fund 3 scholarships the first year instead of 1. The Northfield gets a new sign, Calder Ridge, Ivy's Corner. I have Mom's bracelet cleaned and mounted on a plaque beneath it, along with her words, "This will all be yours, your corner of the world." Dad eventually accepts the cottage offer. I see him sometimes, working in the small garden he's planted, living quietly, at the edge of the property. He's not a ruler anymore. Just an aging man who's watching his daughter do what he never believed she could. We don't talk much, but there's a strange kind of peace between us now. Theo and Val fade from my life completely. Their social media goes quiet. The last I heard, they moved to a different county, trying to start over where nobody knows their story. I don't follow them anymore. They're not worth the energy. One evening, I stand in the North Field at sunset, watching the sky turn orange and pink. The air smells like earth and growing things. I press my palm into the soil, just like I did when I was 8, just like I promised Mom I would. But this time, everything is different. This time, the deed is in my name. The choices are mine. The future is mine. The land recognizes me now, not as the daughter who was pushed away, as the woman who fought her way back. If you're reading this, if you're listening to my story, maybe you're someone who's been cut out too. Maybe someone laughed while they erased you from their will, their family, their life. Maybe they told you that you weren't good enough, weren't the right kind of person, didn't deserve what they had to give. I want you to know something. Your worth was never in their paperwork. Your value was never determined by whether they could see it. They were just the people who were supposed to love you, and they failed. That's their failure, not yours. My revenge wasn't throwing them onto the street, though I could have. It wasn't making them suffer, though they're suffering anyway from consequences they built themselves. My revenge was simpler and more powerful than that. I built a life that didn't need their permission. I created a legacy that doesn't require their approval. I took back what they said I'd never deserve. Not through anger, but through patience, skill, and the refusal to believe their version of who I was supposed to be. The farm is mine now, legally, officially, completely mine. But more than that, my life is mine. My choices are mine. My future is mine. And no one, not my father, not my stepbrother, not anyone, can take that away from me again. I press my palm into the soil one more time, feeling the earth that raised me, the land that welcomed me home. This is Ivy Calder's corner of the world now. And I'm never leaving again.